Well, welcome to another edition of our series sponsored by Showbox Sires on Dairy Business News and the Dairy Voice. Today, we're doing another podcast on our next bull for Showbox Sires, a bull that we've been anxious to get in. He's got a long story and a long journey, but we are thrilled to be ready to introduce the bull Lazaro. 744 HO 200, our first release from Semex from Showbox Sires. And today we've got the breeder and man behind the scenes of making the great Lindsay cow who she is today, and the breeder of Lazaro, Joel Lepage from JM Valley Holsteins. So we're thrilled to have Joel with us on this podcast. As we go through our interview with Joel, we will be talking about the cow and all her greatness, why he made this mating the way he did, and how he thinks he can help you as breeders as you use this bull to make great cattle as he's done for years from the family. As we start talking about the family, Joel, one thing that I always talk about as I'm reading pedigrees with this family, there are more 95-point champion cows, either at Toronto or Madison or All-American, All-Canadian, that go in different branches of this family than any other family I truly know. You go through Goldwyn Lulu, a cow that went 95 and was, I believe, All-Canadian at one point. Then you go to Ivy Lustry, who is a royal champion, Gold Lotto, who is a royal champion, I believe a Madison champion, and then Winbrook Lindsay, one of the most iconic cows from the country of Canada in the past decade. So this cow family from several different branches goes back to Ravenswell Lydia. We're really excited to introduce this bull. So Joel, with that introduction, tell us a little bit about the bull and how you chose to use Chief on Lindsay, and tell us about the bull.
Well, thank you, Tim. I'm really happy that for the first time, like Lindsay, have a bull that we can be able to use in the stud. And the reason why I use Chief on Lindsay, it's I think for me, Chief was bring like more dairy strength. That's something that maybe we would like to change on Lindsay. She's an extreme cow. She's lots of dairy and style, and Chief was for me one of the perfect mating to use on this cow. And like the bull, I already have two sisters that they are very good 86 first cow, and with like perfect daughters. So yeah, we're pretty happy that I have a bull come out from Lindsay by Chief.
And I know, Joel, the bull left you quite a while ago from northern Quebec, but tell me what the bull looked like before he left. What did you like about the bull?
Well, the bull, I guess Tim and Mike, you guys trust me on the bull. When I told you, like it was a really nice calf and perfect mating between Chief and Lindsay. He just had like perfect feet and leg, just like really balanced and hard top, stylish, and just a perfect bull to like everyone would like to use.
I agree. And Joel, when we put the pictures of the bull out that Semex has taken there at their facility, it's fun to get calls from the guys in the barn saying, "Oh, this is a really, really good bull." And all the guys that take care of him at the barn at Semex, Joel, he went from Eastern Ontario over to Guelph, and each one of the guys that are taking care of him have texted me and said how beautiful the bull is. He's medium-sized bull, really wide, got a beautiful rump and leg, like you said, Joel, and just as you described him. People are, the guys taking care of the bull like him. And Joel, like taking care of a cow, if you like her, it makes it easier, right?
Yeah, that's right.
So tell me a little bit about Lindsay and how you acquired the cow, and a little bit about her career. I don't know that there's been a more decorated cow since the day she won her first show, Joel, until today. I'm anxious to hear you walk us through Lindsay's career and her story.
Well, first of all, like we purchased Lindsay right from the breeder, from Mr. Dean Craswell, and in partnership, and we still have the same partnership with Rick and Shannon Allen, and Frank and Diane Barba, and my friend here, Stefan Gendreau. So we bought her as a heifer. She was a spring yearling, and for sure, like first of all, I was looking for a nice show heifer, and I knew like she was coming from the best family in the world. So yeah, we ended up with Lindsay, and we took her to Expo. Like she ended up second spring yearling, and that year she was third spring yearling at the Royal in 2015. And then I think she's maybe one of the only cow in the world. I'm not car associate or some guy that know everything in the past 25 years or 30 years, but Lindsay been at the Royal or the National Show for 8 years in a row. She
Wow.
never, yeah, since 15, she never missed a year. So she showed as a junior two, and she was second junior two, and then after that she was intermediate champion at the Royal in 2017. And then as a 4-year-old, she was second and pull out at the end of the day. And then she was in 19, she was grand 14-day fresh. So she was a 5-year-old, four calves, and 14-day fresh. And then after that, she was reserve grand for 2 years in a row, like in 20 and 21. Yeah.
Wow.
So like for me, like this year was a special year because it was the first time I was not getting Lindsay ready since the last 8 years. So I don't think there any cow in the world can did that before.
I would agree, Joel. I mean, it speaks volumes to you and your family's ability to get cows ready. But I will say I've been in this business a long time, and the run she made when she was grand at the Royal, 14 days fresh, and the way you guys had that cow prepared, she got better every day she was in Toronto. But that tells me volumes about the cow's ability. How, Joel, you work with great cows every day. How many cows after 14 days fresh even can be ready to get on a truck, say nothing about compete at the highest level? It never happens.
Yeah, and especially from where I live, this cow just always went to World Air Expo, Madison, Wisconsin, every time going from Amqui, in east part of Quebec, and like traveling like all close to 50 hours and 40 to 50 hours, and then coming back, and then after the expo and 3 weeks after, jumping a trailer again for another 15, 20 hours up to Toronto, and then I don't think it's not about to be good to prepare cows. It's just the way she is. It's just, and the family. That's the way the family is. Also, they just
and
have something special.
and you say that well, because I think any great cowman like yourself, Joel, would give all the credit to the cow. I mean, you're great at what you do, but if the cow didn't have the will to win and the will to perform, that never happens, right? You work with cows every day, and not every cow has that.
No.
She's got that, like Secretariat, a great horse, just that
Yes.
desire to go win. And we always saw that with Lindsay. Like her desire to win was incredible.
Yeah.
And I would say you didn't mind winning either, Joel. Like that was
No,
something
of
that
course. I was missing her. I was missing her this year. I
I'll,
need to tell
I'll
that.
bet you were. Well, that's a great story. It's why Showbox Sires came to you, as really this is our first bull we acquired, Joel, because Mike and I have that respect for the cow. But you mentioned her breeder, Dean Craswell from PEI, and I think Dean is one of the most underrated breeders in the whole wide world, because he's bred so many great cows, and his ability to take a cow family and develop them was second to none. Tell us, how did you buy her directly from Dean?
Well, the story is, we showed to Fredericton in New Brunswick. It was the convention, so for me it was just like 4 hours. For me, 4 or 5 hours drive. So we show at that show there, and like I think it Dean was showing Lindsay as a spring yearling, and I think that day she was in heat, so he had a tough time in the ring, like tough time I would say. I think he got pulled like 10 or 15. He was the way down on the line, and I was third with one homebred effort, and it was Nathan Thomas was judging. And then he kind of like her, but she was just crazy in the ring. So I move her up to me. Like he ended up like fourth or fifth, and then at the last minute, he just switched her with me. So So I finished fourth and Lindsay was third. So a month after, when I was back home and I was working, I think I was doing some mechanic in the garage. I know it sounds weird, but and I was thinking about like who's gonna be the best spring yearling this year. And then it just pops up in my head like that's gonna be that spring yearling and Heat that beat me at the last minute. I mean, she's got everything to make the all Canadian, all American this fall. So it's the way I end up with Lindsay. I called Dean, I asked the price, didn't want to sell her too much, and yeah, so I got the price, and yeah, that's the way we end up with Lindsay.
And I think, you know, I want our listeners to understand where you live. I can never introduce you and say the name of your town, Joel, but tell them how far, let's use Montreal. I know Quebec City's closer, but how far from Montreal is your home?
I'm like 6.5, 7 hours from Montreal east. But everyone like you always do wrong because you say I'm living in north, but I'm not living in north. I'm living in east. But we have a lot of snow here.
You live really closer to the Maritimes than you do what we would think of as Montreal or the central part of Quebec. Would that be accurate?
Yeah, that's right. So for me, it's the same time to go on Prince Edward Island or go to Montreal. I'm like in the middle.
Well, it's a beautiful part of the world. I think that helps the story because Joel has great sales. You know, kind of not on the beaten path for the Holstein business, but Joel, every time you have a sale, you have great success. You mentioned a little about Lindsay's daughters and how they've shown and how they've bred. Give us a quick recap of a couple of your favorite daughters of Lindsay.
Well, I think what's make Lindsay really special, first of all, we never flushed her as a heifer. So the first daughter, like natural daughter from Lindsay was the ID Dorman Lisa. That sold like for 200 grand, 215 at the Jacob sale in 19, purchased by Mr. Mike Duckett. And I think it's one of the best money maker cow he never had in his barn. I think it's what he said. So Mike could maybe tell us more than I could. But yeah, Darman Lisa was the first daughter because when I talked with Dean to make the deal on Lindsay, he asked me if she come in heat, do you want a breeder? And I said, yeah, let's use Dorman. But the deal was not done. So for all the respect I have for Mr. Dean Craswell, I just decided to make an ID with her prefix because he was the breeder. So Dorman Lisa was her first daughter. So and she was the Reserve All American Junior 3. Like the first year she showed, we show her as a Junior 3, and she was grand champion in Rimouski, and then like Mr. Jan Jacobs was the judge, so he fall in love with the cow and he just won her for his sale, and then it's the way she ended up in the Jacob sale in 19.
Duckett's he and Julie would say the cow made him more money, even with a $215,000 purchase price than any cow they've touched because the family is so magical. And she was a great performing cow in her own right. And now she's at Randy Frazier's and still making beautiful daughters. And interestingly, Mike and I weren't partners then, and I bid against him way to the end on that cow. He's still mad at me for that. But I wish I'd have bought her, Joel, and I'd have money like Duckett. But it's a great story.
And the funny thing is what that Dorman Lisa, for like you said, she was one of the most expensive daughter, but just the way she sell embryo and daughter and every sale, like I think some year maybe Mike could tell us more, but I think they sold like 20 daughter 1 year. So it was just an ATM machine like that year. So that's nice.
One thing that drives us on this family, Joel, is the success of reproduction of the family. You mentioned Lindsay was back to back to back for 8 years. That's a good, strong reproductive cow. And we actually had Goldwyn Lucia, her dam at my farm at Borderview, and IVF the cow there for years for different people. And that cow worked like a chicken. And I know Dorman Lisa worked very, very well. You've not made as many from Lindsay, because you've bred the cow back every year. But reproductively, this cow family, they are true breeding cows, aren't they?
Oh yeah, and the reason why I would say, you know, like you said, I live like pretty far from from the rest of the world, so the IVF facility was not the same like it was now. Like now they're like, yeah, you know, they changed the program and it's more easy for us to do IVF like almost every month. But like a couple of years ago, it was not possible. We had to send the cow like to somewhere else, and then we were calving her every year, so it was not that easy to do it. So that's maybe one of the reason. That's why she don't have that many daughter. But yeah, what's make special, like Dorman Lisa was the first daughter, and then the second natural daughter was Dempsey Lizara, and Lizara was nominated All American, All Canadian Baby June, and then end up junior reserve junior champion at the Royal as a summer yearling, and an 87-point first calf. And I should count how many email I got all around the world to have embryo from the Dempsey from Lindsay. It was just crazy. I had just an answer was almost print. It was just, we don't sell any eggs. Sorry, thank you to ask. And it was just, we got email like it was just crazy from the Dempsey.
Yeah, I remember that beautiful young cow, and what a great heifer she was. So have there been any sons of Lindsay used in AI?
No, you guys are like directly son. No, you guys are the first one purchase a bull from Lindsay.
And why are you excited to have this bull at Showbox Sires and Semex?
Well, it's because like you guys, first of all, I was so happy when you called me, uh, you know, to have interest on the bull from Lindsay because like I said, it's the family don't miss too much, and and I've been telling you the other day, like all the calves from Lindsay. I don't know what the proof said, or I don't know the genomic how it is, and but all the calves from Lindsay, they all have something special. When you see a calf in the hutches, like chewing or cud at 2 weeks old or 2 weeks and a half, and you just stop and you just go, you know, just go look again to make sure that you're not wrong, and that is not the feed program, that it's the genetic, and that is Lindsay. You know, the all the daughters she made, you know, they were special, and you can tell in the barn, you know, they're Lindsay. And the daughter are that way, the granddaughter and the granddaughter also, and then it's it's the family throw that, it's Lindsay throw all that lank and style and femininity, they're all like that.
And so do you, once Lazaro is finally out, Joel, do you expect JM Valley to be using the bull?
Yeah, of course. I'm just waiting for the Siemens, you know.
And
Yeah.
how do you think the bull, how is he going to breed? How is he going to help people? What do you think the bull's specialty will be?
Well, I think the bull will help. Like I think what Lindsay bring, it's that femininity, the flat bones, and I hope the fertility. If you said it was the family that have the most all Canadian and all American champion, it's because they're calving. They're calving every years, and I think when you're a dairy farmer, you needs to have your cows calving every years. You know, it's one of the big expense on the farm, like the breeding program, and then when you got the family that catch, you know, the first time and make calves and make especially live calf also, because it's what it was special in Lindsay family. I never flushed her many time. I didn't have tons embryo, but every embryo we put in, we always have good, you know, a really good conception. And when they calve, they make small calves and they're alive. So that's make way more easy because they're nothing worse than a big calf that don't want to live. And people that feeding calves know what it is.
Well, we certainly appreciate Joel Lepage being on with us, Mike and I, have said ever since the start of Showbox Sires, we want great cows and great bulls and great people represented. In my history in this business, one of my favorite guys that I've ever spent time with talking about cows is Dean Craswell. And I think he's one of the most respected breeders in the world. The ID prefix and the success that Ravenswell Lydia has had in so many branches speaks volumes to what Dean has done. But Joel, I would echo that in our respect for you and what you've done. You're one of the great cowmen and one of the great people in this business, Joel. And Mike and I couldn't be more excited to attach JM Valley to an early bull from Showbox Sires. So we are so excited to have him and appreciate your time. Would you leave our listeners with any final thoughts on this bull and your thoughts going forward?
Well, I hope, like you said, the bull will help the breeder, and we're really happy that it's like you and Mike. I think you're one of the people in the industry that can promote those kind of bull from those family, and then you already work with those kind of cows, and I think you're the best people. The Showbox Sire is the best people to promote those bull and use it right also.
Well, we'll look forward, Joel, to the interview once we cross 1 million units of sales. We may bring you and your family to a nice destination if we can do that. So let's make that our next interview.
All right, I agree with that.
So we thank you for joining us for the most recent series of the evolution of the great cow, the Showbox Sires series on dairy business news through the Dairy Voice. We want to tell people from the breeder's standpoint about our bulls. And today's guest, Joel Lepage from JM Valley Holsteins in Eastern Quebec, we'll say, Joel. We really appreciate him on, and we hope the industry is excited about 744 HO 0200 Lazaro.